Hi, I'm Gretchen Bender from MAP Advisors. I'm here with Naomi Mastera from NMI. This is the Girls Just Want to Have Fun's podcast. I'm really excited to have our guest Jim Roddy from the RSPA here with us today. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you for having me here. Great to be here in Miami Beach with you and nearly 2,000 of our friends here.
Awesome. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about RSPA and the work that you do there.
Sure. So RSPA stands for Retail Solutions Providers Association. And so the verticals we cover is the greater retail umbrella, retail, restaurant, grocery, all the sub-niches underneath. We're a community for technology solution providers serving those verticals. Started in 1948. We've obviously morphed over the years from a cash register dealer association to now covering payments, point of sale, every other technology that goes inside the retail ecosystem. And there's no merchants. It's all solution providers who are looking to partner with each other. 750 member companies, about 450 fit into that reseller, VAR, ISO agent category. We have about 170, 180 software providers, and then the rest are payments companies, hardware manufacturers, distributors, so anybody who's looking to partner. Somebody described it as an independent mesh network of entrepreneurs, and I thought that's really good, right? It's going in any direction that you want. You can find the right solution if you find the right partner, and that's what we're all about, bringing that community together and helping them find each other and provide the best solutions to the partners.
Right. That's amazing. What are the benefits if you want to become a member of the RSPA? What are the benefits offered?
Sure. So there's a super long list of benefits. I won't go into every single one of them right now, but we're very much a networking and education community. And so the networking happens a few different ways. We have an annual trade show called Retail Now that attracts about 1,600 attendees. Again, it's that same audience breakdown that I had mentioned. So you can go for one-stop shopping there and see all the distributors, all the hardware manufacturers, all the payments providers, all the software companies who play in this space. So Retail Now, that's held end of July, early August. Every year, the 2026 event is July 26th through 28th at Caesars Forum. So that's a big one. But we also have year-round. Like a lot of times you go to a show and whoever you bump into there over 48 or 72 hours, you got to wait 362 more days to do that all over again. But what we do is we have year-round service with that. So we have 3 dedicated member services managers. All they do is work with our current members. They find out what challenges do they have, what do they need, who do they need to connect with, and we will go and make those connections for them. Obviously, people can go through our member directory, things of that nature, go to the show and do all that stuff on their own. But we've got folks who are really acting as a concierge. We call it RSPA white glove service to help them get what they need. Because this is a tough industry to navigate, right?
Sure.
Like everybody's just sort of show up and you don't know who's good, who's bad, who's up, who's down. And that's really what our community does. It provides that.
I will tell you that NMI is a member and we benefit so much from your organization. We're at your show, we have a booth. You have a really cool, I think it's called Spill the Tea, where you get highlight of maybe 10 different ISVs and they get 15 minutes. I always look forward to that. It's always been extremely beneficial for us to learn more about other companies out there. And you're always on the cutting edge. And your organization, the people that work for you, I love Nicole.
And Nicole Green, one of our member services managers.
Yeah, you guys have an amazing team. So we've always enjoyed being a part.
Thank you. And that's the whole thing about this industry and this community. As I've been observing what's going on here at SEAA, I'm thinking like the more things change from a technology standpoint, the more things stay the same. And the right people are really what makes the difference in no matter what organization in terms of community, right? If you can work with somebody and they can get to know you and you can trust each other, that can go a long way. I always joke in this industry, all the bridges are connected and they're all made of wood. So if you burn one, you're going to burn the whole thing down. But also on the positive side, that's like the, negative part of it. The optimistic side is they're all well connected and people will introduce you to somebody else and you do not have to go it alone. I was self-employed for 5.5 years in my 20s. And it was really difficult. Like I just had to look around at the walls and the ceiling to be like, I guess I should try doing this. I don't know. Man, to have a community of folks who have been there, done that, and are very much willing to share their insights, that's a huge advantage. And that's why I think you see the folks who are attending here at SEAA, who are RSPA members who are going to Retail Now, they're the ones who are able to compete against those 800 number guys, right, who aren't here. And the folks who don't work with others, that what I think makes a huge difference. Rising tide really does lift all boats.
Yeah, I think also that white glove service, that making it a community, a lot of times it's hard to find the owners, the founders, the decision makers, when you're at a show like this or at RSPA, and it's right there available for you.
Yes, that's what we always say. If you would go and send an email to somebody, I don't care how important you are or how important you think you are, the other person's going to be like, I don't know who this person is, and so they probably won't give it the time of day, right? You know how it is. You go through your emails, you don't even get into the subject.
So
you just see part of the subject. You're like, I don't know who this is, and so you delete it. But they know our member services managers. You mentioned Nicole Green, Peggy Fry, Heather Broussard, right? Our members know them. So if they get an outreach from one of them saying, hey, I'd like to connect you with so-and-so, that has a way higher hit rate than somebody just doing it blindly, because it is a community. Like, that is the key word here. We're all looking to help each other out. Anybody who cares about the value add business model, we are all working together to try to move that business model forward. Obviously, there is some competition inside, but boy, it really does not come out. You see, we actually just had this at our Inspire Leadership Conference, and we just had it on a call last week. 2 competing companies helping each other out on the call, giving each other advice. One, from the stage to somebody there, and you're like, how in the world does this happen, right? Can you imagine in other industries, competitors helping each other? But that's really what it's all about in the RSPA.
Tell us about Inspire. I haven't been yet. I'm looking forward to it. So I'd like to hear more about it.
Sure. So RSPA is our annual leadership conference. It's held every winter about 2 or 3 weeks after the NRF, National Retail Federation show. It's always held in a very nice location. It was Hawaii last year. It's going to be Puerto Rico. Then it's been in Curacao before. Like, all the only nice places I ever get to travel are because of Inspire. Like, my passport is all because of Inspire. The interesting thing about that is, so we had 310 people. That was our all-time record that attended. Usually it's around 250 folks. But to your point, like, who are the owners? The owners go to that one. The leaders go to that one. And what we do is get everybody together, and they really like the networking element of it. But it's not just parties, right? Because then you have to walk up to somebody. Who are you? What do you do? What we do is every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no matter how nice the weather is outside, we're in the conference room from 8 until noon, and we're talking about the key topics that our community cares about, right? Our retail technology solution providers. And what we do is we have a panel or a presenter that talks for maybe 20 minutes and then sparks a discussion. Everybody's sitting at small tables. They turn to each other, they introduce each other, they start working on solutions together. Then they'll go up to an open microphone. I can say it as a show event organizer. I mean, you were nervous when, like, it's open mic, so anybody can say anything. Like, oh my gosh, it goes sideways. But it is so helpful that people are able to say, here's what we came up with at our table. Here's a best practice. You get these real world best practices all shared across, and people get to meet each other and work with each other. We do that for part of it. We take a break, we come back in, and we do the same thing over again. It sparks so many conversations. You know, as you go to a trade show, we're going to leave here with a lot of business cards. You leave Inspire with true relationships because you've been hanging out with that group of 200, 300 folks over the course of 3 days in a very nice location and actually working together elbow to elbow.
That's huge. I mean, the bonding of, I know that some of these shows, I've been coming to these a lot, and you start to build these relationships with people, and they're your friends.
Yes.
It's not just business anymore.
Yes.
And I would think spending time, especially in a beautiful environment like that, would be really bonding and lifetime relationships that are
You
built.
spend that much time with somebody, you're not going to walk away neutral, right? You're either going to like them a lot more, or you're going to be like, I don't know if they're really the right fit for me, but you don't leave neutral because you get to spend that much
Hopefully we
time.
can go this year.
I'd like to go this year.
Should go. I will, again, last year had 310 and we had to cap it at that. So make sure you register early.
Where is the next location?
It's in Puerto Rico at the Royal
Puerto Rico.
Sonesta
Oh, wow.
in San Juan. So yeah,
And I speak Spanish, so I could be your translator.
very good. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, see, you're building your case for being able to attend Inspire.
So, with technology rapidly changing into AI, how do you see the future of software vendors? How are they embracing AI? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me ask my AI agent what they feel about that. So I remember, so Mike Seymour is a former board chair of the RSPA, and when he gave his acceptance speech, boy, this would have been 10 years ago, he said, I do not know what this industry is going to bring. I do not know what the technologies are going to look like 5 years or 10 years from now. All I can tell you is they're going to be different than what we're doing today. So we've got to make sure we're very much adaptable. So I say that as a backdrop. So this industry, like the payments industry, the retail technology industry, it's been changing. Like we almost don't realize it until you really look back 10, 15 years and you go, really, we were doing that? Like nobody was talking about, like who was talking about AI 3 years ago? Not many people, right? Like somebody who's on the edge. So I say all that as a backdrop in terms of, I'm not able to say hard and fast in terms of exactly what it is, but I can say inside of our community, we were stunned at how much AI competence, how many folks are not just testing AI, but actually implementing it, actually developing it. So we formed an AI advisory group because folks said, you could turn to the RSPA and you said, what are some guidelines for recurring revenue? We had them. What are some guidelines for payments, companies I should connect with? We had all that. People are like, what about AI? We're like, we don't have anything right now. And so we said, well, we have to go develop that. And so our thought was, we're going to have to go outside our community, maybe bring in some consultants in order to guide us. We turned to our community first to find out, and people were sharing with us, folks inside the organization that we had never heard of before, ever met before, or maybe hadn't been to a trade show, who are doing great things with AI. So we turned to them, and that group together has worked. It's about 36 members, put together the RSPA AI Resource Hub. So if you Google it right now, RSPA AI Resource Hub, you'll be able to find it. It's a free service. We don't gate it or anything like that. Built by our members. And it cuts through all the crazy noise about AI that we're hearing all the time and getting down to specifically, what do payments solution providers need to know? What do retail IT channel solution providers need to know? And it's broken down for them in terms of definitions, best practices, misconceptions, merchant-facing applications, internal applications. So this is my long way of, I feel like I'm a politician. This is my long way of saying, I don't know, Naomi, but I don't know exactly what it's going to bring. But if you keep your finger on the pulse and you're talking to all the folks who are engaged in that from time to time, you're going to be able to follow what the right path is. And that's the whole thing. Like, I am not some AI expert by any means, but hanging out with our members, I'm able to share a lot of best practices among solution providers because they just keep popping up and making it.
Yeah, it's been interesting in the last year. Every show I go to now, every vendor that's at the show has something AI in their back pocket, or so it's been something that I see everywhere now, where 2 years ago you hardly even heard about it.
Right.
So
right.
It's great that you have a group of experts that can keep us on top of it, because it is changing a lot, and it's I think it's made my life a lot easier in so many ways as I've embraced it. But I think it's great to be able to have an organization that can give us more information on it.
Yeah, a community of experts who are generous with their time and insight. So again, they realize they're not trying to keep all this information to themselves. They know if they're able to get these best practices throughout our industry, that's going to help raise the channel. That's going to help raise the ISOs, the agents, the ISVs to compete against those 800 number guys who aren't here, right? Who aren't getting engaged with our community.
And you have, I know you have at least one member that is an AI company that provides customer service. ISOs can use them to do the customer service for, after hours or on weekends. And at the show last year, I actually saw a demo of it, and it was fascinating.
Yes.
And I know a couple of ISOs that are using it today.
Yeah, and it's moving so fast. That's the whole thing. Like, if you don't have it now, and we said this in our AI session yesterday, people are saying, I don't think this provider is able to do this. And we're like, well, check back in 2 weeks. Like, before it might be quarters or years down the road, but this is moving so fast. We've had multiple AI companies that what they were doing 2 years ago is totally different to what they're doing now. And they've had a few iterations along the way, right? Because foundationally, AI is changing so much.
So fast.
And they're trying to keep up with it. And that's why, again, if you're a technology solution provider, you've got to help your merchants stay up to pace with that. So if you're not engaged with it, you're going to be falling behind. Yeah. That's why it's so important for folks who are listening to this, who are like, I don't want to go to events, it's too much of a hassle or anything like that. This is really where you get to learn the fastest, right? It's education by immersion. Now we go and search for things. We go and find things. They don't find us. At trade shows and events like this, people find us. Solutions find us. You bump into them. And when I come to events like this, like SEAA or like a Retail Now, I have so many more notes than I did when I came in and so many more ideas.
That's amazing.
You know, I really wanted to talk about your podcast because
Sure.
I really enjoy it. It's so educational. That's why I was so excited that you were going to be here and that we could have you on our podcast. What advice do you give us? We're newbies. We're very new. We launched this year, and we're excited to get more content at this show with experts. And what do you recommend for us as newbies?
Sure. So the podcast is the RSPA Trusted Advisor podcast. We have, I know we've had 100, I don't know exactly, it's like 160 almost episodes we've had to date. So we've been around. So the biggest thing is, so I've been in broadcasting. Well, I guess there's podcasting, then there's broadcasting. I broadcast basketball games for several years as well at my alma mater, Gaynor University, who just won the men's national championship this year. Just dropping that as a point of personal pride. Not that your listeners care about that, but I do. And so I bring up that point in terms of, I just brought up something and your listeners are going to be like, I don't care about Gaynor University basketball. The number one thing is serve your audience. And I learned when I broadcast basketball, because there weren't a lot of resources out there, it was your audience is blind, right? They are literally blind people and they don't know. And so you have to be able to share with them very descriptive terms, and they have to trust you. You can never mislead them. Don't be rounding things up or hyping things up, right? Or skewing the truth, because you're going to lose their trust. So it all comes down to the audience. Serve the audience. So there are times where I think like, I'd like to talk about this, but then I have to go, does my audience really care about that? And if the answer is no, don't do that. Go do things that the audience cares about. You saw on the AI and payments panel yesterday, like,
Yes.
there's a whole bunch of other things I could have maybe wanted to talk about, but it's like, yeah, this event, SEAA, and what are we hearing from our members? They want to hear about AI and payments, and the room was packed again. Don't tell the fire marshal, like we were well beyond the capacity in there, but that is what it's all about. It's a lot of times people focus on all those, higher level things like, oh, I try to be cute and cool and vertical videos and, all this kind of stuff, but it's really, what does my audience want? And if you keep serving up unique insights to them and recruit great guests, like,
Yes.
better guests than me. No, but really, you go recruit great guests and have people like the reaction that you had is like, wow, that person provided things that I didn't know about.
Well, we learn every time, and that's what's exciting about doing the podcast is that for us, we're going to be growing our own knowledge.
Yes.
By bringing in great people. One of the things I really want to do with our podcast is I want to engage our audience. We want them to be a part of it, to tell us what topics they want. We want to be very, in tune with what we should have on the podcast. It's been challenging for us because we all have our own LinkedIn. We have thousands of followers, but for us, we need people to follow our page, and getting the followers has been one of the challenges that we've had. So we're going to start putting a lot more content, like because of this show. And that's something that we're excited about.
So I'll share this with you is, like you talked about people following your page. We've seen that people like some of the things that I do for the RSPA, I'm like the Pied Piper of RSPA. We call it the RSPA Trusted Advisor podcast, but I'm like the name and the face behind that.
Yes.
We use our personal brands to help bring our broader brands. So I don't know if people are going to follow your page necessarily, but they're going to follow you. They're going to like you. They don't necessarily fall in love with the brand, but when they fall in love with you, the brand comes along with it, right? Like when you're not just talking to me because I'm Jim Roddy, whatever. It's because I'm with the RSPA. And so if you can intertwine those two things together and get people, and they personally like you, it's way easier for people to personally like you than a brand that
We need to
doesn't have
share it a lot
anything.
more on LinkedIn, on our pages, because then people will follow us.
That's exactly right.
And that's really, but for us, it was really important that we have that engagement. We want people to participate. Maybe people can't be interviewed, but maybe they can send us information. We can, talk about what they've sent us, questions they've had. We want to make it kind of interactive as much as we can.
Yeah.
So we're excited. I mean, we're newbies, but
But they want to interact with you. That's the whole thing.
Yes.
Like they really want to interact with you. If you see, the RSPA does not have a Trusted Advisor podcast page. We have our own RSPA page, which we have to do stuff through, but it's our team that's going and doing things and making comments and having personalities that go along with it. So again,
Thank
That's
you
great
so much.
advice.
sure,
Thank
yeah, you
you.
take that
Thank
for
you
whatever it's
so
worth,
much.
but that's worked for us in this
160
industry.
episodes. We,
Yes,
I
that's
think we have
what
3.
Oh, I see them. You're amazing, and it's just educational. That's why I was really happy. How has this show been for you so far here?
This event has been great. It's like a fire hose of information. And so after all of these events, I always write a blog post doing an analysis. So I'm always looking around like, what is the angle from this? And so far what I've seen is there's so many things about payments that have changed over the years, like, agentic AI, e-commerce, and you're like, who was talking about that, a few years ago? But then you also realize when you zoom out, the fundamentals have not changed, right? It's about partnership. It's about those who have high initiative and they're looking to adopt new solutions and be creative. They're going to be the ones who wins. The people who sit on the sidelines, they're going to be sidelined, and it's going to be even faster at this point. So that's really been my big takeaway here. If somebody because we actually had this at RSPA happen one time. Somebody left the industry and then came back 8 years later. I bumped into him in the trade show hall, and he's like laughing, like literally laughing out loud, like, this is a high-tech show. Like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Completely changed.
Yes, completely changed. And so that's what you realize.
Yeah.
If you step away from it, if you don't get engaged, and that's what, again, I think my biggest takeaway here is, as much as the technology changes and everything on the surface, the fundamentals of what makes this industry work about trusted partnership, high initiative, try, test, measure, adapt, try, test, measure, adapt, right? Yeah, it's going to be AI now. It's going to be something else later. But all those fundamental principles actually apply, they apply, they're evergreen.
And as I walked the show, it really surprised me how many software vendors, point of sale systems. Really, I'm used to just seeing that at your show.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I've been at one of the regional shows where I see more of that than what I used to see, just ISOs having their booths, processors. And now I just see so much technology that I almost felt that I was at the RSPA show. So
Yeah, because going back to what I said, like about the podcast, you've got to serve your audience. They have to serve their merchants, and their merchants are not just looking for a payments device anymore. They want to have a point of sale solution, right? They need more than just what was being provided. And that's why you're starting to see more of these POS providers out on the show floor, because they're trying to provide an easier access, because that's what the merchants want.
I love it because all of these software providers need a gateway.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at NMI, so
Exactly
for
right.
me, it's like, oh my gosh, I have so many new prospects.
Yes.
And I haven't had time to walk the whole show, but I'm definitely, it's great to meet the people that are the attendees. Those are a lot of our partners.
Yeah.
But it's also, for me, I see that a lot of my prospects are the vendors.
Yes.
Especially for what we do.
So we tell people at Retail Now, if you're only sending 2 people to work, have one person at your booth and have one person going through the show floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Because before, partnerships in this space used to be very straightforward. You work with someone, like I'm a Micros dealer, I'm an NCR dealer, I represent this payment company. Now it goes every single direction. And so you've got to be agile enough to go in all those different directions.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great having you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your show.
Well, thanks for having me.
it
Good luck.
was-
I'm thrilled you guys have started the podcast, and I look forward to continuing to listen.
And I really want to thank you for being here, but also just tell you that you were the highlight. I was so excited. That's why you were our first interview today. We weren't even going to do anything yesterday, and when I got you on there, I was like super excited.
Well, you're very
So
kind.
I really appreciate it.
You're
Thank
very
you.
kind.
Thank
you
you.
both.
Subscribe and follow Girls Just Want to Have Funds